Hi, Muchísimo Eugene. Welcome to another video from Exit Strategy. Please like, subscribe, share the video, give a thumbs up if you found it helpful, pass it on if you believe someone else would benefit from it. I'd appreciate that. Now, there are two circumstances that both the empath, the awakened, and the narcissist share in common, and that's a concern. The concern as an awakened empath that you have is who they are and what they have the propensity to do. This is why we're here educating as we elevate ourselves in our vibrations of our authentic self and living in our purpose, not being distracted by these demons. Now, the narcissist, they have a concern as well. And their concern is what you know and how much you know. So that's pretty much the concerns that both the narcissist and awakened empath share. It's generally just a concern. The concern is from us to them as to what they are and the propensity and the damage that they are capable of. When you're awakened, you don't have to tell a narcissist that you're awakened. You don't have to go around like, I know what you are. I know who you are. I know the damage that you do, and I know the damage that you're capable of. You don't have to tell them any of this. It is just something that is stoic. There is something that is calm about you. There is something that they see that is different from all the other people that they have suckered into their web of lies and deception. They can see this from afar. They can sense this from up close because you're casually observing in a way unlike you were before you awakened. Again, you're calm. Your calm and peace is what scares the hell out of them, because that calm and peace tells them one or two things: that you know who they are and what they are, or you just know about darkness. You know, and you have arrived at a point where you're able to sit amongst people in general and just casually observe. The narcissist knows this, because if you could put yourself in the cockpit of the narcissist's brain, they can see, based on a lot of the residual movements of the world at large, they pretty much know the rhetoric. They know this repetition that the Matrix has us in. They know this to a fault. And they know when they meet people that are easily persuaded, easily deceived, and easily convinced of whatever the narcissist says or does. They have observed this from long ago, and they see a consistent pattern in certain people's lives and behaviors. They don't see that in you. And when that happens and they happen upon you, it freaks them out, because they're thinking, which they never really have those moments of thought because they're so busy doing damage to other people. But now there's no fun when the rabbit got the gun. You're in a position where you have them thinking. They don't know your next move. And see, when they come on the scene, you don't know their next move if you're not awakened or aware. They can come at you a certain way while all at the same time they're plotting a destructive move on you, unbeknownst to you. So their concern is very strong when they happen upon awakened empath. You don't have to tell them. You don't have to speak it. You don't have to talk and use certain verbiage such as energy vampires, their energy is off. Now, however, that is a good way to get a narcissist out of your face. You know, if they start talking and yakking and trying to draw you in to a conversation where they're trying to smear someone, you just kind of nonchalantly, and this is what I've done in times past, and I'll do it occasionally if I feel the need to now. I'll say, you know what, man, you know, we living in a world with a lot of people just trying to, you know, their energy is off. And you know, I deal with energy. And if you tell them that, or you say that in the air and a narcissist is around, they will pump their brakes because they know the jargon about energy vampires. They know about vibration. They know all the lingo of the empaths. And not just of the empath, they know this educative lingo that is being passed around in the world today. This eye-opening information. They hear it. You think they don't hear it? They happen across channels like this one and other channels out there that are dealing with bringing awareness to the fact that there are demons in human form out there called narcissists. You think they don't stumble upon this stuff? And some of them even sit discreetly behind closed doors watching some of us, educating themselves on what they think is our next move towards them so they can counter that. But if you really want to know the truth, a narcissist doesn't have an attention span long enough to just sit there and retain this stuff and go out and apply it as far as how they can be more deceiving. They're on a loop. They do the same thing, and their biggest Achilles heel is the fact that they believe their own lies. They have people duped, and they get so giddy and comfortable, and they accelerate the process to a fault, and it catches up with them. Thank God. Thank God they don't have half a brain, because if they were very, very wise, as some of them are, the high-ranking narcissists, or you call them, I don't know what they call them, highly aware, highly in tune to what they are. That's normally up in the Illuminati and secret societies, the head honchos. These are people who control and command the hyenas to go out and do their bidding. See, these type of narcissists, they even use their own kind, almost like the Lion King. The Lion King scarf and the hyenas. That's how a high-ranking narcissist uses other narcissists. They use everybody, but high-ranking narcissists use these minions, who are most of the time narcissists themselves. It's a group of narcissists. But these lower-level narcissists, they're not fully aware of their disorder, and they're just guinea pigs for doing things because you gotta understand, they love the attention and adoration. That's a narcissist, cut and dry. But these lower level narcissists, they want to be accepted and appreciated. So all you got to do is stroke their ego. And the higher ranking narcissist, that's what he does. And he gets everything and some out of them as far as work. If they need him to put a hit out on somebody, if they need him to do, and in gangs, I'll say that about gangs. This is how gangs are comprised. You have a spearhead that has realized that if I can catch somebody in a vulnerable position, that are in a broken home, that are lost out here in the street, hungry, don't have nowhere to stay, we can take him in and pretend, give them an illusion that we're going to cover him, we're going to protect him, we're going to be his family he never had. But they never know when they get into these gangs that it's like that guy that goes to the jail or goes to prison, and it's a pack of chips and a honey bun on his bed. And he gets there, he looks around, and he's wondering who put that on my bed. And they're like, hey, man, somebody just gave it to you. You knew coming in. So, just giving you, help you get a leg up. And he eats this, not knowing that that guy wants that same honey bun. He wants that same pack of chips back. And there's no way you can give that back to him. And obviously, you know how that goes. And that analogy holds true in life with a lot of these higher ranking narcissists. In gangs and stuff, they recruit these kids, these weak-minded individuals that are impressionable, that are looking for acceptance, that are looking, I don't want to even say looking to be loved, but looking to be appreciated, looking to belong. And before you know it, they're initiated into something, and they're willing to go out and do the unthinkable, take somebody's life just to get stripes, just to get merit points. Because if you think about that, you go out and take somebody's life just to get elevated to another rank or another position in this manipulation cult, gangs, churches, religion, secret societies. All of this in this world is comprised of higher ranking narcissists, whereas they handpick lower ranking narcissists to go out and recruit even lower narcissists or even lower codependency people. And it doesn't always be narcissists. Sometimes, a lot of times, they are just codependent, even some codependent empaths get into these secret societies because they're not aware of who they are as an empath. And again, I've talked about that a million times. Our allies, which sometimes are unawakened empaths, they oftentimes are a big part of why we have such a struggle getting this awareness, because I'll show you how this looks. An unawakened empath a lot of times may take company with a group of narcissists, not knowing what disorder, narcissistic personality disorder is, as we all have been in the dark before we awaken. But the difference is empaths generally just don't need to be around people like that. But if you have a codependency problem, this individual gets in cahoots with these narcissists, and they've manipulated him basically to go out and snoop around and get information and sit around at other people's tables, and then this unaware or unawakened empath that is codependent, heavily codependent, he's bringing this information back to the higher ranking narcissist, unbeknownst to the empath, unawakened empath. And it's clever how narcissists will do it. They'll sit around and they'll just throw feelers out there. Like, hey, what's going on with that dude? And before you know it, that's all you got to do. Open that door for the narcissist to rattle off everything that they have observed, heard, or know. And so there's an allegiance there that's I don't think is ever spoken about. I do believe there are unawakened empaths that are so broken, probably from past abuse, mental and psychological abuse from within that family structure, or a loved one somewhere, or even a church, got violated in a church, and then they go on to become befriended by who else? None other than a high-ranking, self-aware narcissist. Because narcissists smell you out when they realize that you're broken, and they make you think that they're the ones going to help build you up. But it's a false confidence they're giving you. There's a false security that they're giving you. And so you end up with this onslaught of people that seem to be always against the empath. And in that group of people who are opposing that empath, oftentimes there are a couple empaths in there, because you will see the empath not really want to go along with the unjust, unrighteous behavior, but they're all in. They're all in. The conviction and the commitment to self is not great enough for them to renege on that allegiance. And it's getting worse among empaths that are not awakened, because I'll show you what empaths generally do when they get sidetracked and start living it up like they see a lot of people in the world are doing. They got to be at every party doing cartwheels and jumping jacks and backflips because they need to be needed. And so by the time many empaths realize that they've been doing all of this stuff in vain, their shame is so deep and so great, they would rather stay committed to that thing, irregardless to the fact that they know deep down inside of them, these people or this group of people mean them no good. But they can't come to the right side, or the side that they're supposed to be on, which is their authentic self. They can't get out of that shadow, someone else's shadow. They are too afraid or too cowardly to get out of that person's shadow and get into their own shadow. And I say cowardly, and I use that lightly because if we know something that we should do, and for sake of fear of being outed or talked about, we don't do it, that to me is cowardly. Sometimes, an empath, it doesn't matter what it is on the table or on the line. It could be humiliation. It could be scandalized. It could be reputation. But an empath genuinely are truth tellers. Even when something is brought up on our past, we'll own it. We will own it. When that person who throws it up wants to make us ashamed and embarrassed. Who does this type of stuff? And you see that in the media all the time with news. This is all they're doing. It's scandal sells. Because you know why? It sells because people like you and me, they know that we're going to eat it up, because our curiosity, the curiosity factor in the world is unquenchable. I told you guys the story about when I got out of prison in 2001. On the application, it says, have you ever been arrested, convicted of a felony? If so, please explain. I wrote a small, brief statement saying, yes, I just got out 6 months ago. And I put in parentheses, will explain upon interview. God showed me we're in a curious society. And for the fact that we're in such a curious, nosy society, have to be all in the soup and don't know the flavor, always got to be in somebody else's business. That's human nature we're living in right now. But empath, we don't generally like to hear gossip. We don't care about it. We have our own problems. We know we're no different and we're no better than anyone else. It grieves us. It grieves us to go around backbiting and slandering people. It goes contrary to who our nature is. And so in that parentheses, it will explain upon interview, I got called and I end up inevitably getting the job. That being said, BLEZZ.